Has my entire commentary been off? I had my headset mic off this entire time. Okay, alright, so you guys didn't get it at the beginning of the video. It's just basically me being quiet and whatnot. But I'm gonna attempt to redo the Eve landing in this video. But I really want to build my rover, get science, get the inflatable heat shield, and use all that stuff, because that's all coming from stock game. And that way, the inflatable heat shield should make it a lot easier. At most, I should only need 6 parts instead of the how many I was using. A lot of heat shields, I could only need to use 6, which will keep the lag down and prevent me from the game from crashing and whatnot more often. Anyway, what I'm doing now is building a rover. I'm using the largest stock, no DLC parts for the game. I'm not going to be using the Saturn V parts because I want to visit every planet before I start using the DLC. But I'm going to be using the larger stock parts in order to get the stuff that I need. And the largest stock parts, that way I can have the height based off those parts on my extensions. Sorry my mic was muted. I did not realize my mic was muted. But anyway, I'm going to use the smaller docking port. I was originally planning on the larger docking port. Center of mass overlay. And this thing is so light, it doesn't really matter where the center is. But what I plan on doing, rotate this so it's straight up and down like that. Move it left and right. I like using the Mark 1 parts for rovers and stuff like that. I need to figure out how to do these controls. That looks about centered and straight and centered. Okay, so I'm going to reroute back to this part right here. Change this again by clicking on here, rover center. Overwrite that. Get rid of this. I don't like using the junior docking ports. I like using the regular docking ports. If I keep pressing up to rotate, why don't I just press down once? Oh well. Anyway, this will be the center of my rover, basically. And if you are trying to figure out how I'm moving around in this space plane hangar like that, I'm using the left and right keys. Or no, the right stick while holding R2 down to go left and right, up and down, and then up, down, left, right. L1 and forward and back is zoom in and zoom out with up and down. Okay, so yeah, that's going to be my proper height for this rover. So basically what I'm going to do now is filter by function. I don't need the sub-assemblies right now. What I'm going to do is add a bunch of these fuel tanks, the Mark Zeros, drain all of them of fuel because I don't want any liquid fuel on these things. And do that. And then do the same thing on the back, same amount. So just copy your cluster. And do that. So that's going to be my length. We are going to add another one of these to this. So it's a fuel tank, no, it's a structural. another one of these on the back side of this. And then another regular docking port right here. Like that. That way the docking port height stays the same and I can just keep on adding onto here. Eventually there's going to be a part I'm going to add onto here, which is going to be a 6-way. It'll be under the structural. It'll be a 6-way attachment points where I can attach docking ports to all 6 sides of it. I'll have that and then docking ports, that way I'll be able to drive in sideways and attach out this way and then start going out left and right from it with separate modules, making the base rather large. But something I can do now is, since this is going to be my base module, this is going to be my longest piece. It's this one fuel tank. I would be able to do this better with the robotics parts, but again, I'm not going to be using the robotics parts simply because not everyone's going to have that DLC. So what I'm going to do now is add these tiny structural points on either side. So set it in symmetry of 2. There, there, and there. And then add these struts across like that. Now actually, I'm not going to have these ones right here. Alright, I have at the ends like that, I'm going to have those strut things. And that will allow me to have strut stuff up to this. I can come here. That'll be perfect for a let's add a little command and control. Now pods. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one of these what am I going to add? What would I add? I don't have the rover part out yet, but I could do this and add. That would look ridiculous. But what I can do is take that off, add in structural, the FA10 adapter, and add that. And now basically what's going to happen is I will have these right here going to be at the proper height with proper amount of clearance, hopefully, to prevent this from tipping. What I can do is add another set of docking ports here. And coupling, that's what I want. So what I'm going to do is add more docking ports here and here in the back, and that should allow me to have this stuff stable enough to keep the craft, if I can get this right. I'm going to need to take this off for now. But basically what this is going to be able to do is you can have multiple docking ports docked on the same craft. So what that's going to do is what that's going to allow is for me to have the docking port right there, as well as a docking port back here. That's going to be connected to here, ensuring 3 points of contact so that the craft itself doesn't wobble away. And then I can just decouple the ports whenever I get to where I need to get to. Let's move you a little bit, not up. Nope, nope. I wish I knew how to use this move tool better. There we go. About center right there. Yeah, so what this is going to do now is I will add the docking ports up here. Get rid of that. The docking ports up here in sets of 4. And then I will just move them so that they line up where I need them to. I'll rotate and move them and all that other fun stuff. Let's see if I can get it closer just by... yeah, and then I'll rotate these guys right here. That way they are actually connected. Like that. Okay, so they have connection points. So they'll look like that, and then I'll add them again over here in sets of 4. Right there. I'll rotate. No, I didn't want to do that. Rotate, come on, like that, move it, not up or down. You know, like I said, I wish I was actually good at using this tool. And then so basically this structure is going to be what causes me to have fudge monkeys. I make sure I'm back centered over here. So up and down is left and right when you're facing this way. Alright. Come on. Come on. So, nope, it's a little too much. And this is going to require a little bit of precision. Basically, I'm trying to center this up like that. And then, so I want L1. And there we go, that's what I want. And center it up like that. And that should be basically centered on there. So basically, when this part gets loaded in, it will be able to sit on and move this part right here. I'll have landing legs that will sit lower. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to have landing legs in 2 spots on here, the ones that keep it level with this craft and the ones that go into the ground further. So I'll have landing legs basically holding the craft together. Okay? And what will happen is I'm going to need to add a command pod to this stuff then, so I can easily do that though by doing this. I don't need a prograde retrograde hold one, I just need the cheapest one like that. Add a radial attach point, just one. So now the issue, oh come on now, come on now. Let's go ahead and do this as base extension. You know, honestly, this is Rover right now. So this is what it's going to be. It's going to be the Rover. Right now, it's not letting me move around, so I'm going to return to the Space Center. Save and continue, yes, yes. and then reload it back in, and then hopefully I'll have my movement controls back. Alright, come back in. So this is going to be a rather larger part, but it should fit in a fairing pretty easily. There we go, that's better. I can move around again. Alright, so I'm going to take this piece right here and rotate it so it's up top, like this. So all my parts are going to have command pods or probe cores on them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a probe core to this, a cheaper probe core, because my plan is to have landing gears that will be attached at 2 different locations. One of them is going to keep them at the height of this, and the other ones are going to keep them, will be set lower than this, and hopefully they will be set in a position that I'll be able to drive this thing underneath it without hitting anything, which I don't think I'll be able to do unless I put the landing legs. How am I going to do this? I'll figure that out. But anyway, what I'm going to do is basically these will be set up at a slightly higher. I will dock. How's that going to work actually? Won't be able to do the landing legs method. I definitely won't be able to keep this huge pod on here. So I'm definitely going to have to add the pod for this one, which should work for what I need it to do. Okay, so this is a, actually, I don't even need that, because I'm going to have command pods on here. I have another idea on how this is going to work. Basically, this will stay at the same height no matter what, and then these down here are going to have 2 separate wheel sets. So how's the best way I'm going to explain this? I don't know. I just realized that what I plan on doing isn't going to work in a stock game, in a non-whatnot game. But anyway, regardless, I'm going to need a coupling Clampotron Junior right there. That way it's a control point on the front of the thing. Let's see. Because once I have this on here, it's not going to be able to, unless, let me see something real quick. Ground. Aha! That might just work. That might just work. Alright. So what I'm going to do is set a wheel, an airplane wheel at the bottom of this thing right here, and get it to clip into the actual drone. I wish that that works. We'll rotate this part so it's directly like that. We'll move it so it's in the center. And then we don't need it clipped up that far. So, nope, that's not what I wanted. Move it so it's in the center. Yeah. So we're not going to need it clipped in that much. Basically enough to where This might work. Well, what I want to do with this is rather hard to do in the stock game. I'm going to get it to work. Yep, I know how I can get it to work. I know how I can get it to work. Okay. So I'm going to need this landing gear, not that one that I just used. Okay. So basically what I'm going to need to do is be able to raise this craft up off the ground, basically, and then have control points where the wheels are. So that when this thing is up off the ground, these wheels will be controlling it. Move you to be in the center, like that. And move you up like that. And then when it's lowered down, it will, and it's going to have these wheels right here on here, basically at the same height as these landing gear wheels. Rotate these guys. There. Let me go ahead and set these in sets of 2. Place these in sets of 2, like that. Move. Basically what's going to happen is when these gears are up, wait, I'm going to want them higher. So when these gears are up, basically, these are the, when that gear's up, these are going to be the wheels that are, well, how's that going to work? Thinking, because I'm going to want this to be able to undock and move free of this without docking into, and only docking in when I want it to. Only way I can think of doing that is by this kind of setup where the landing gears here will lower down, and then these guys will get pushed onto the ground because the landing gear raised. And that will allow us to get free place. Like that. Okay. So that's how I'm going to have to do this. So now when the landing gears get raised, this will lower this core down. And then let's see. Okay, I have a plan that will work. I figured this out. So I'm not going to just be able to use I'll have to use RCS thrusters as well in order to get this to move, either forward or back. And with that, basically, the bulk of the movement will be done with these electric wheels. And then, with the outer, support structures, once the probe is basically in place, I will lower these gears here, which will raise the height just enough, and then I will use the RCS thrusters in order to move forward towards the actual craft itself. And that is going to be the plan. So now what I'm going to need to do is copy these at the exact same heights like that. Okay. Let's add another one of these landing gears in here, right at the center. Actually, I don't even need to do right at the center. I can do this right here. Let's go ahead and rotate you some more so that you're even with the, yeah, and then move you guys up some so that you are right on the ground. So you're not too high off the ground. So I want you, yeah, basically like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing back here. Basically at each of the docking ports. Move you up some so your wheels aren't on the ground. Alright. Or not in the ground. Come on, up a little bit. And yeah. So your wheels aren't in the ground. They'll be lower down onto these rover wheels. Place. Like so. Then I'll set all these roving wheels at the same height once I get finished placing them all, basically. This should allow me to, in theory, move this part up here. Now this is way too shallow for a regular old structure like this. But basically what my plan is, just have to move these to be all at the same height. And I hate how I can't move these to where I want them. So in theory, these things should all move together when it should all move together in series when it's like this. Add a little bit of RCS, the 10 fuel tanks. And then add in some RCS thrusters. Place anywheres. Basically all I'm gonna do is take these guys, place them like that, set them in sets of 8, and then set sets of 8 that way. That way I have forward and aft lateral motion. And then I guess I could set them in 8 that way. That way it will help out with my left and right lateral motion ish. Nah, I'm not gonna need them in sets of 8 there. And then what I'm going to do is at this docking port is going to be structural right there. Radial, that's way too big. It's going to be not those guys. Fuel tanks, that's what I want. Fuel tanks. It's going to be these Mark Zeros again. Set like that. I'm going to add another Mark 0. That's a Mark 1. I want Mark 0 again. Set like that. Another one set right there, which might actually, let's move this forward a bit. Yeah, I want it lined up with that docking port right there. And then, you know what? We can add another Mark 0. Oh no, drain them all of liquid fuel. Drain them all of liquid fuel. Drain it all of liquid fuel. So I don't know if you... No, it's not really sloping down. It is a little bit, so I can rotate this up a little bit like that. Basically, now it's not slanting downwards. Rotate this guy. Oh, not that way. Rotate it that way. Like that. Move it back some. Alright, that's still slanted, so let's rotate it again so it's facing directly forward and aft. Like that. Let's move it so it's in the center again. Okay. And basically I'm going to be replicating this right here, which I can just do. Which I can just do this. Right there. What this is going to do is give me extra control on this point. So now I have a super wide drone, basically. I will add basically this right here to the back. If it will let me. So I don't think it will, because now it's registering the no, come on, quit it. Quit freaking out. Keeps on trying to attach these points. I'm just trying to get the get you over there for now. Structural. We'll add the attach point, the radial attach point. How is the best way to do this? I know the best way to do this. What we're going to do is pull this docking port off. We will move this right here. Nope, not that direction. Not that direction. Aft. Let's see. I mean, I guess I don't need extra lateral support there. I can just... Let's get rid of this. Where's my mouse at? No, don't load in. Give me my mouse. Get rid of that so it doesn't freak out like that. I can add another set of these on here. At the same height. Add another one of these. That was my phone falling. It's fine. It's in a robust case. Add another one of these landing gears right here. Alright, now right there's fine. Rotate just you. So you're straight up and down. that. Move view, parts clipping up. I know that some people don't like parts clipping, but it's a mechanic you're going to have to try to get used to in this game to make most efficient craft, most aerodynamic craft. And who says you can't put batteries inside of these things? So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. So what I got to do now is add solar panels, electrical. I got to add batteries. So I'm going to add basically, oh, these are humongous batteries. I'm going to add batteries up here on the front ends of this, right here. And then add antennas. I don't need something super large. I can just add one of these and it'd be fine. And then what I'm going to do is add solar panels, because I'll eventually replace the solar panels with RTGs, or I could have built this with actually I couldn't have, because it would have been too small. I'll add solar panels here. I'm going to want it on the outers because they're the areas that are going to get the amount of sun that's required for this. Don't really want it on the inners. But basically what I'm going to do now, once this is all built with the fuel tank and everything, first off, what I'm going to do is go out onto the runway, drop the craft down, which I gotta strut this together still with the structural struts, but I'm gonna drop the craft down and then see if this works. If I can get it to dock, I'll revert the flight, if it works, I'll add the landing legs to the bigger part, so to be at the proper height. There'll be 4, and they'll come out, basically, I'm gonna have structural points come out this way, and then head out down a bit further. And that is where, that way the rover will be able to drive underneath completely in order to move these parts. Which, if you're building a surface base and you have to add on to it or change parts out, you're going to need a rover setup. This would be a lot easier if I were using the robotics parts, because I'd be able to use hinges, I'd be able to hinge the walls. Basically, I could have it set up to to a 90-degree angle. I'd be able to hinge it out to be level. I would be able to extend. I could use the struts or the pistons to extend out and attach better docking ports. I'd be able to, there's just a lot of stuff I would be able to do. Now basically, if I ever need to move the base, I should be able to put 4 of these rovers underneath whatever structure, or enough rovers underneath all the structures for the docking ports underneath. Release these landing gears, they'll go up, and then this entire thing should drop down and have enough structural support to get moved. But I don't know yet. Anyway, I'm going to add, so we have a bunch of these. I can't add the Gigantor relays yet, but I can add a couple more batteries. I can add these 1x6s on the sides here. That way they will follow the sun. And I have the other ones on there just in case these things break or whatnot. They'll still be able to get some electrical charge. And let's go ahead and actions. Oh, I don't have a strong enough whatnot. What was the last thing I wanted to do with this? Oh yeah, I gotta strut this stuff all together. I might need to add more wheels back here, which I'll figure out a way to do if I need to. Actually, there's another way I'd be able to do this. Basically, I would take this, put it back on the center, build out 8 that way, then rotate it 180, and make sure it is lined up, and that's a way I'd be able to do that. And then add all the other stuff into it. Oh yeah, that's something else I can do. Not yet, I can't. Basically, that's probably what I'm going to end up having to do. We'll figure that out. Let's add our structural struts from here to here. Oh yeah, that's what else I was planning on doing. I remember what I was going to do. And then from here to here. So basically what these struts are going to be doing is connecting these furthest parts out to make the thing more stable. And what I'm going to do is here to here. Let's do here to here. So basically what I'm going to end up doing is taking this guy right here at this point at the docking port and making this the rover subassembly, which is a lot of parts. How many parts do I have right now? 192 parts, where most of it is probably on this rover. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Anyway, strutting. Oh, I only want two. There to there. There to there. There to there. And then here to there. Now this should provide enough structural strutting to not have to have anything decoupled or anything like that. So what I'm going to do now is what I was going to plan on doing. That is add a docking port right here, like that. Add a structural part. The fuel tank, sorry, that was a fuel tank. It's a Mark 1 fuel tank, so what we're using. Or Mark 0s, sorry. Not Mark 1s. Drain it of all fuel. Add more liquid fuel. Not liquid fuel, RCS thrusting to this. Add a command pod. Let's add the structural. This engine structural FL10 adapter. You know what? Pods. We'll add the singular pods. Like that, except I'm going to want them rotated the other way, just so the window's facing forward. We will, you know what, that's not going to work very well. Get rid of those. Bye-bye. put that on. So the reason this isn't going to work very well is I'm going to need to have enough height to be able to have the landing legs out. And I don't want the landing legs to have to go over a whole lot. So what I'm going to have to do is, it's not going to look the best, but I have this. Actually, I can do, you know, could do this, and that should give me the height I want, but that might mess with the struts. What I can do is this. Place that there. Rotate this like that. Right. Move this back. And are my... No, they're not. Oh, that's because I have those there. Add a... Just go ahead and roll structural. Strut these to the batteries. Like that, so they're connected. Add a ladder. Utility, because if I'm going to be on Eve with this, I'm not going to be able to use the I'm not going to be able to use the rotate. I'm not going to use the EVA packs on Eve. And the robotics would make this so much easier for a simple reason of for the very simple reason of, with the robotics parts, I would be able to have this thing folded up into one singular thing, make it easier to get into fairings and whatnot. But now we have pods that will be able to get this thing moving around. Alright. So first off, let's save this. Save craft as rover. Let's go ahead and reroute to this docking port right here. That way I can get rid of this entire base right there. Goodbye. And basically I'm going to try to launch this and see if this makes it and can get placed on the hold on, let me get some crew on here. Alright, let's go. Jebediah and Valentina working together. We'll go ahead and launch this and see if this works the way I want it to. Hopefully it does. So basically, this is why you want a it's why you want whatchamacallit, thinking. Why you want a test base on Kerbin, because you don't want to launch your modules you're adding onto your base over to whatever celestial body and realize your sizing is slightly wrong, and so the docking ports aren't going to actually fit. Alright, so right now it is pretty stable with the whatnot. What I can do is get rid of this nav ball, extend my solar panels, time warp up to we get a but yeah, so right now looks like it's pretty stable, very wide base. Extend these solar panels, time warp up to a more desirable time frame where I'll actually be able to move this into daylight. There we go, that's better. Alright, exit warp mode. Let's see if this will work. So we're going to have to go to the base itself. I do have like I said, I have that command pod right there, but that's going to be for the landing gears later on. What I can do is release the brakes, release the gears. That'll set us down onto the landing gears for the rover gears. What I will do now is start to drive forward. Oh, it is slow, but I'd rather have slow than not working at all. Alright, so yeah, let's go ahead and start rotating this way. It's super heavy on the top, and yet it still doesn't try to roll over. And that's because it is wider than it actually needs to be. And then we are going to, so basically once this test rover is done, what I'm going to do is park the test rover somewhere and leave it out, and then just get a Kerbal inside of it in order to pilot this. And I'll basically just launch the whatever height whatnots where I need it. This is going to be the big test right here, because we're going to start rolling downhill and hit our brakes because we are rolling downhill faster than I really want to. Go into a reverse so it does not slow down very well. Hopefully the thing doesn't demolish itself, and voila, look at that. We can start moving forward again at a faster rate. I'm going to start turning towards the base over here. Yeah, look at that. It has nice and fine controls right now. And because we've got these 3 docking ports right here still docked, because if I click on it or press square on this right here, not necessarily that one, I should, yeah, it says undock right there. So what I can do is undock those whenever they get to wherever they're going. So this is a really good, like I always build my rovers way too narrow and they end up flipping over on the muns, you know, whatnot. But yeah, basically now what I can do is set this rover, build whatever module I want on the back of this, the height thing, and then reroute to this height thing, and if it works, I will be able to use this rover to basically attach whatever modules I need to attach. And that is amazing. Oh man, I hope this works as I intend it to work. It's the only way I can think of that will, in order to raise and lower off the landing gears or off the rover wheels in order to do this. But I think it's going to work just fine. We will see. We are slowly making our way to that base, which is 1.9 kilometers away, or about 1.9 kilometers. almost, because a 2 kilometers is 1.25 miles. So yeah, just over a mile away. Or 2 kilometers is about 1.25 miles. It's not exactly, but it is close enough for me to say it's 1.25 miles. This thing right here does not have the best of brakes, so hopefully this works as intended. Hopefully this will work on Eve too. But yeah, all these landing gears are touching the ground, doing fine. And basically the probe core there is just specifically for whatchamacallit, specifically in order to get the landing gears out, which honestly I don't need it. I don't need it because once I get my no, I will, because I'm going to need to. No, I won't, because if I have the landing gear set to the height of this, I'll be able to have this lower thing lowered, so I don't need the probe core. The probe core can get taken away and won't really matter. I'll be able to set this, land it on the surface of whatever in the direction I want it, orientation I want it, with the landing gears. Take my rover, rove underneath it, lift it up, and start moving on to it. Then once I get RTGs, better rover wheels, because my rover wheels are, oh wait, those have never been there, those rear rover wheels. Basically what's going to happen is I'll be able to drive underneath whatever module is, raise up, and then I'll have the control with the Kerbals. Then I'll be able to lower back down onto whatever thing it is. And yeah, I'll be able to put science modules onto whatever, use it to pick up other Kerbals, have a passenger, basically a passenger bay I can add onto this and just leave. So if I need to move parts, I'll be able to get driving underneath the passenger, which won't have to be set to the same height as this, but probably will be, just because. Yeah. So you don't use shift and control or up and down in order to use these. You use forward and back, and then left and right with the left stick, in order to make this accelerate and decelerate on probe mode. I always have issues because my probes either go too fast and whatever, or they're not wide enough and they end up flipping and destroying themselves. So that might happen if I try to go too fast on the MUN with this. And I don't know if these probe wheels are going to be strong enough for a an Eve movements, but we'll figure this out. This will all get figured out eventually. But yeah, here it is looming, coming up finally, going towards this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this as target by double clicking it. I will move my, oop, it turns really easily, because it has so many of these controlling wheels. Speed up, aim directly for the target. Right now it's controlling from this docking port right here, because that's the root part in whatever assembly, but you could also try to get it to control from that docking port right there. So basically what I'm going to do is place this command pod, or this rover, into place, but it is ridiculously a lot more stable than I thought it was going to be, especially with this big fuel, because this big fuel thing is full of liquid fuel with and oxidizer. So yeah. And basically, if I had the robotics parts on here, I would be able to, with the docking ports and everything, create a rocket by sending the parts to um, whatever celestial body I want. So I could send a full fuel tank and use these drones and use at the front a docking port with the or a hinge at the front with a docking port and everything there, and then hinge it up, dock it to or dock it to an engine, hinge it up, and then I have it set up. Or I could build whatnot around it, and I could use pistons in order to raise whatnot up. And man, there's so much you could be able to do with those robotics parts just for building spacecraft on other celestial bodies, which hopefully I will be able to start doing. Because if I can do that, then I can build I could go to Eve and then build the return rocket on Eve. That seems like, but I'm gonna have to do a non-robotics mission as well. And in order to do that, I'd basically have to do exactly what I'd have to do right here, and that is get all of the parts. Oh man. I would have to have another basically. Yeah, that would be interesting. 4.9 meters per second. Let's speed up again. Start heading towards our unit. So even with the sun powering this, it's still pulling a decent amount of electric charge every single time we try to move this in any direction or speed up. Because it is a massive craft, massive rover with a lot of these wheels. And then we know that, so if I do landing gear, we know that the landing gears themselves are strong enough to keep this on whatnot and are level enough to keep it level without rocking and whatnot. So whenever we get to here, once we get basically lined up with the target, what we'll do is we will lower our landing gear, as it should raise the entire craft up, and then start using RCS in order to move forward or back, which this is going to be interesting. I need to make sure this is proof of concept works before I send this craft. And like I said, I still need to add the landing legs to the upper module, and then I just have to send 2 of these, I think. Yeah, 2 of these to Eve instead of the convoluted whatnot. So I'd be able to send the craft and then 2 of these right here with parachutes on the top, that the parachutes will be able to, will be connected to the upper docking ports, or the parachute assemblies will be connected to the upper docking ports, which will allow for, which means I will need a probe core on this for, yeah, we'll need a probe core on this for Eve and whatnot. And I'll need the better one that can hold prograde, retrograde. I could add peripheral engines on the sides. There's so much stuff I could add to this craft. 200 meters away. Start pointing towards target again. Whoop. Let's figure out where we are, and we'll focus towards a docking port and set that as target once we get there. And then we will, so right now our target is aiming upwards because it's aiming towards the top, towards the ship. And then we'll aim towards docking port, get lined up so that we're facing directly towards the docking port, basically lined up. We'll raise our gear, make sure it will raise properly, and then we will use the RCS in order to go ahead and add brakes to this, because yeah, it's trying to. Alright, brakes off. Ooh, and we're actually pretty lined up to a docking port almost already. So if I do this, we line up. Yeah, I'm going to need to upgrade my my space plane hangar, SPH. Alright, so what we're going to do now that we're stopped, so we're going to target that docking port right there as whatnot. So we are pretty well lined up, but we're not lined up well enough. So let's go ahead and get rid of our brakes. Let's back up some and realign. I started going in the wrong direction right away. And then line up right there. Line up. Start going forward. Let's go ahead and rotate towards the docking port. Go that way. We want prograde right at the docking port. And we'll see if this works. Should be proof of concept right here. This is why you want these bases right here. Alright. Should be lined up with the docking port about right there. Alright, let's go ahead and raise our landing gears, or lower our landing gears. That should raise the entire craft up. We will activate our RCS now. We'll go here, activate our RCS. Going in the wrong direction. We should be able to still steer this. So 0.6 meters per second right now. RCS is still lined up. It is right about there. 0.6 meters per second. So these wheels, the wheels back here, should have some steering capabilities. I'm going to need more monopropellant on this, because I don't know if you noticed this, it took almost 15 just to get to 0.6 meters per second here. But hopefully this proof of concept will work, where this should dock. And docked. And now, yes, that works. That works actually rather marvelously, a lot better than I thought it was going to work. So not only does this have extreme stabilization, the landing gears are at the perfect height for the docking ports. And so that means, all right, let's revert flight back to space plane hangar. Okay. So now, what I'm going to need to do is add the landing gear structure to this upper portion, right here. So structural, what I'm going to do is add a radial attach point. Nope. Actually, yeah, let's add radial attach points to basically right here. Actually, up here. Alright, yeah, and set it in groups of 2, because I want these to be done in sets of 2. We will rotate that way, and have that right there, like that. Then we'll add the not the Rockomax brand adapter, the FLA10, like that. Yes, yes. Actually, do I need the FLA10? Let's add the structural. We'll add the actual pieces, see if these actual pieces clear. They do, like that. And then I should be able to rotate this one right here down like that. Let's rotate it until it's basically, yeah, right there. We'll add structural support from here to there. Then we'll add now we'll add the FLA10 adapter right there. And then we'll add the fuel tank. So basically what I'm doing now is building this structure that will be able to house the landing gears so that they stay at the same level as these wheels. I will remove all fuel from these this liquid fuel right here. I will rotate these. Rotate these. Alright, that's better. To be basically directly 90. Like that. Add struts again. From here to here. That way we know it's like structurally in there. Then I will add utility. The landing gears. No, gears. Ground. I'll add these landing struts so that they are basically right there. Then I will move this part up until the landing gears are right there, and then I will move it in. Nope. So basically it is all strutted in like that. Make sure that's actually touching the ground. And then I will strut this right here to this right here, like that. That came up looking beautifully. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right here and add another landing gear forward and aft of the thing. That way I have 3 points of contact on each of these things. Like that. And then, so yeah, so the base is going to look sort of like this for now, until I can figure out a better way to do this. So each of the bases are going to have these ginormous side like claws that are going to be hanging onto here. I'll make sure these are structurally strutted to the actual craft I want, like that. And sending this thing to Eve is going to be fun, based on just how massive it is. Actions, no, not actions. Bring that out. What I'm going to do is square. Oh, get to subassemblies. Square. Click. Subassembly drop zone. Rename. Base extension legs, and we'll save that. Grab onto those base extension legs and move them back here. To right about there. Make sure these guys are where they need to be. If they aren't, so I need to move this up a little bit. Not that far. To right there. Alright. So there's that. I'm gonna need to add more mono propellant to this stuff. So let's get rid of that because I don't need that anymore. Fuel tanks. That's not the one I want. That's the one I want. So on the front end of this, I'm going to add the mono propellant. That. And now this right here has just enough clearance to get through. I will structurally strut the these legs right here. Back here. It's a $70,000 test point. But you want to do all your testing on Kerbin so you don't get wherever. It'll prevent, you know, a lot longer times to get to whatever celestial body and then landing it and then testing it on said celestial bodies. Alright, and you can't have too many struts, but you do want a lot of struts because you don't want these things from... You don't want these things falling apart on you now. And now, that is one base extension part that should fit on whatever I need it to. So let's go ahead and launch this with these two on it right now again. Let's see if this works the way I intend it to. Hopefully it works the way I intended it to. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to raise this back up again with all the landing legs and whatnot. Have all that RCS on there. The rover. So you notice I didn't put any struts on the front on those monopropellant tanks. So they're wobbling, which is something I have to do. Revert flight, spaceflight hangar. These monopropellant tanks need to be strutted because I don't need them wobbling around and damaging stuff. And putting them on the front is probably a bad idea because I barely had enough clearance anyway. But we will see. This is why you always test stuff beforehand. And now we will do this. Strut that. Strut that. Strut that. Strut that. Add a little thingy right here. And then strut this right there. Let's try it again. So this rover will have to be sent to whatever celestial body separately. I will make a rocket for it. It might just be shallow enough for a fairing to fit over it, which I hope. If it is, I'll be able to strut it to an actual fairing. Add peripheral engines to it. Land it. Alright, so you see how those are still wobbling? Don't want that. So now, how am I going to add RCS to this thing? Fuel tanks to this thing without it wobbling? Well, we don't have just those linears, we also have side-mounted RCS. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all of these back off again. Goodbye. Goodbye, all of you. Goodbye, this little structural thing. And all I'm going to do is go to fuel tanks. And we have, it looks like, the monopropellant thing, the whatnot, should be the best one, because that's 7.5, that's 20, that's 50. So yeah, it's going to be the best one we have, so what we're going to do is place these. Best places to place them are probably going to be about right here in sets of 2, like that. This will give us an extra 100 units of monopropellant right there, which these things give us, what, 20 units of monopropellant, I think? Yeah. So now it's an extra 100, it's extra 200 right there. DCs give 50, it's 100 there, 200, 240, these give me 10, 7.5, 255 is what we have for bottom propellant. What's amazing is we'll be able to dock, monopropellant tanks to this stuff as well, and all the other fun stuff. And doing so will allow the crafts to whatchamacallit. I'll be able to refuel the monopropellant tanks on here with the whatever base I am building, basically. And let's go ahead and launch this. I'll let this work perfectly. If not, I'll have to edit the landing legs on the sides. And then before I do my final launch, I'm going to upgrade my spaceplane hangar so I can have action groups, because I actually need action groups for this to work. So I'll make it, add the action groups to it, and then basically I'm putting undock, decouple on all my on those things on their own action group. Brakes on. Time warp up to extend my solar panels, because I'll need to have that on an action group too. It's extending solar panels. So basically all I have to do in order to check to see if this works is, after I time warp up and get back to daylight, I'm going to undock I'm not going to undock the nodes just yet, but I'm going to have brakes set. I will lower my landing gears, so I'm going to have these solar panels retracted. I did not notice that before I start moving backwards, which is glad I have a lot of electrical charge. Alright, so now we are officially above. This thing wants to wobble, which might have to do with the spring strength. But let's go ahead and lower these landing gears, make sure this thing actual retract. So two things I need to do is make sure that these landing gears all retract except for these outer strut landing legs. Actually, you know what? I'm going to extend these. Landing gears back out again, because it's going to be easier to do it this way. Drop everything down, brakes are still set. We will extend and extend. Extend these forward ones and these aft ones, which hopefully we do this, come in here, brake still set, right click here, undock, decouple, yes. So now if we use our landing gears underneath, we were in control of the wrong craft. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dock it. You know, I'm going to have to save this craft. I'm going to have to upgrade my hangar in order to finish these tests. Because I'm going to need the docking ports, or the action group set up properly. So I'm going to revert back to spaceplane hangar. I am going to spaceplane hangar. I am going to save the craft as Rover. I'll eventually reroute to get it, you know, as a better Rover. But what I gotta do now is save craft. Alright, go ahead and return to Space Center. I need to upgrade my spaceplane hangar to its fully level, unlimited parts, unlimited everything. Alright, go back in here, because now I have action grouping unlocked. Let's see if my craft is still open. Action grouping. We'll have one to deploy the solar panels, toggle, and toggle. 2 is going to be the extend retract. Extend retract. Extend retract. 3 is going to be my inner gears. Extend retract. Extend retract. Extend retract. Extend retract. And then extend retract. 4 is going to be my, oh yeah, that's our undock decouple. Undock decouple. decouple. Undock. Decouple. Undock. Decouple. Undock. Decouple. And undock. Decouple. So now what I'm going to do is go to build, reroute the entire craft to this little docking port right here. That way when I do undock decouple, it will keep the rover as the main part instead of this up here. And now I'll save this craft again. Make sure I've got my Kerbals in here. Why isn't it letting me do this? I sometimes hate how this game does this. Return to Space Center. Re-go in. I think it's my PlayStation, honestly, is acting up. Crew, bring it up now. Jebediah and Pet Valentina, that's right. Entire thing is set there. 1 is line is those, 2 is that, 3 is that, 4 is that, 5 is nothing. Alright. Launch. So first thing I'm going to try to do is see if this actually moves right. So the actual stuff I'm going to send up later on is not going to be as heavy because I'm not going to have any oxidizer on the whatnot. But yeah. I wonder why turning SAS on and off stopped that from shaking like that. Oh well. 1, leave those solar panels out. Get you back to that. Okay, what I'm going to do now, turn the solar panels off. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is make sure my brakes are on. 3 is my I thought 3 was my landing gears. My inners. They are. Okay, it just didn't register right. And then 4 should drop me down. Now if I did this right, with the docking ports being lined up, I should be able to do 3. And it'll raise me back up onto and redock with. The ports, which it's not doing right now. Alright. Revert flight to the hangar. I'm going to have to raise the landing gears up a little bit. I don't think I need the forward and aft gears, so I think it's shaking a lot. I think it has to do with the forward and aft gears over here. So if I take these guys out right there, like that. Alright, now I gotta raise. So that's not directly on the ground, but that one is. So let's go ahead and raise this up just a little bit more. Like that. So that one's just above the ground, and so is that one. Actually, I need these moved down. To there. Just touching the ground. Just touching the ground. Or is it even touching the ground yet? Alright. Just touching the ground and just touching the ground. Alright, save craft. Let's launch it. See, make sure this works right. See, it's a lot easier than quicker just doing it like this instead of launching, sending it every single time. Which is why it's important to have a mock ground base set up exactly like you have all your other ground bases. Alright, so I know this thing will decouple. That much I know. Now, will it recouple is the question, and the reason why I need to know that is I need to know if the craft itself, so it's not shaking anymore, which is good. But I need to know if the craft itself will redock. That way I'll be able to send it, basically. And then 4 to drop down. 3 to raise up. So right now, the landing gears are shaking, which is causing the craft to wobble aft a little bit at a time. So now if I turn my RCS on, go here. So yeah, that's what's causing that to happen right now, is the craft is moving aft because of the wobble. Now, I think I know what's causing the wobble, so let's revert flight to spaceplane hangar. Is you can't used to be able to change it while inside of the whatchamacallit, while you were inside of the um, whatever it was. You used to be able to change it. Now you can't. So you think you just can only change it in the hangar, which makes sense because you're building this craft. Oh no, you can't change it right now. Would I be able to? So what's going to stop that from wobbling all crazy like that? Alright, so I think it has to do with these legs right here. So let's get rid of them completely. Goodbye. So I have another way. I should be able to do this and keep this basically in line. Actually, I don't know another way to do this. So what I'm going to need to do is have this craft not touch the landing legs, because if I touch the landing legs, I can knock the whatnot over, cause issues. So how would be the best way to do this? I want to open this craft back up again. Alright. So it might be wobbling because I'm attempting to, let me try this right here now, because I realized why it might be wobbling. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Alright, so let's see if doing this will work. Coupling. These junior docking ports. Alright. I am going to have to move this further down in order to get this to work. Let's extend this ladder. Let's extend the ladder out. Let's rotate the ladder. About right there. Retract the ladder. Let's see now. Structural. This could have been a multitude of things. Fuel tanks. I think that I was just ever so slightly offset of the center of mass based on the forward and aft gears. So what I'm going to do now is this. Add, yeah, 3 of these. Use square. Why won't you let me use square? I hate this. Save craft. Return to Space Center. I don't like it when the game... I think it's my PlayStation's processing power, but the game could just be glitching where I have to keep reloading. We do have these minor glitches in here, like across multiple people, where they'll just suddenly lose control of whatever. It is normally on the more complicated crafts. So it might be the game itself can't register enough processing power, making us have to reload everything. But anyway, hopefully doing what I'm about to do is going to work. We will figure that out. Alright. So right click this, get rid of all the liquid fuel. All the liquid fuel. I mean, I guess I could have these liquid fuel units on here full for the liquid fuel whatnot, but that's only 600 liquid fuel right now, probably almost 1,000, and I don't need that extra mass added on right now. So yeah, so fuel tanks. Let's go ahead and get my liquid fuel thing here. Drop you to 0. Rotate you down like that. Move you up and in. Nope, that's not in. And in like that. Fuel tanks. That. Let's rotate this to get it back straight up and down. Right there. Get it right there. And remove all the liquid fuel again. Add landing gear. Right there, which should be fine. Structural, U to U, like that. That, and then that should hopefully keep everything in place. And then if I do this, Set that like that. Set it to 2 like that. This with these 3 side docking ports basically. Like that, which then I'll need to. This piece is just slightly. Oh man. This docking port right here is just slightly offset to the others, so I'm going to have to edit this back. Rotate you right there, and let's rotate it up until the landing gears are like that. So what happens when you have docking ports just slightly off to everything else. Let's go ahead and click on place. And now we're doing the exact same thing, except we're going to start from back here. About right there. Jebediah and Valentina, just because. Action groups. Alright, so I won't be able to use 4 the way I wanted to. So I don't want to ever undock or decouple those side nodes on the uppers. I only want the ones on the bottom on the rover itself, so this one right here is in the middle. This one right here is the this one right here is the lower. That one should be the forward one, I think. This one right here is the back one. Okay. That's Action Group 4. Action Group 2 is that one. 2 is going to be these guys right here. Alright, let's go ahead and launch, save this first. Now let's launch it. Building this rover with the proper height stuff is a pain. Alright, so it's not shaking and wobbling anymore. So that's good. Let's go ahead and turn our brakes on. Warp up to the daytime. Alright. Warped up to daytime. What I'm going to do is see if this stuff, brakes are on. I want to undock. It is slightly wobbling, but hopefully that's not too terribly bad. Let's go ahead and 3, 3. That didn't dock. What that did is, what did it destroy? It destroyed one of my landing gears. So why is this thing still shaking like this and rotating like that? I'm trying to figure this out. Hold on now. Maybe, just maybe, I'm going to have to I don't know. I do not know. I've got to get it to stop shaking like that and whatnot. I have another idea that might just work, but I won't be able to use these extendable landing legs. No, it wouldn't work. Like, why are you shaking like that? Why are you wobbling? I can see why. Probably the same reason why I was before, because it wasn't perfectly aligned into balance with the docking ports and everything. So now, what I might have to do is change this and realign it, because look at that. Look at where the docking ports are based on. It's the same on the other side, in the middle, and everything. So everything is like slightly oblonged. One side's lower than the other completely. And that might be the entire reason why. So revert flight to spaceplane hangar. Reroute to that other docking port. Move everything slightly. So I'll start with the middle one. Get it perfectly aligned. So first things first, let's get rid of all these take that thing off. No, I went too far. Start. Open craft. Don't save. Rover. Okay. So let's get rid of all these right here that I edited. Every single one of these. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this exactly, the center one, exactly in basically like the center. So that the command pod is directly underneath. Let's see now. Reroute that to that. Move. It's not what I want to move, but I want to move that. So now if I move that, so that this is exactly in the center of mass of the what? No. Alright, let's take this. Then remove this rover for now. Set you aside. I'll need you later, just not right now. Why is that sets a 2? Why is that sets a 1 right there? Why don't you set and sets a 4? Yeah, so get rid of all of these. Set them in sets of 4. Coupling. Junior docking ports. Center of mass. Should be right there. We'll then rotate these to be like that. And we'll move them. Alright, if I want to move it. left and right moves that one. Moves Y. Up and down moves that way. Yeah, that's what I want. Everything moves together. So I want that arrow pointing directly to the middle of that circle right there. Okay. And then, so up and down moves that way. So now L1 and side to side should, yeah, and directly in the center of mass right there. It should be exactly, perfectly level. My docking ports should be in a position where they are at the same height. It's a little bit, it should be the same height right there. And we'll see that by setting this to 1 first. Setting that there. Now if we do this, add our fuel tank again. Empty out the liquid fuel. Add another one of these fuel tanks. And another one. And another one. Rotate that, let this one. And we look at this right here. So it is slightly rotated in the wrong direction. So let's rotate this. The reason I know this is because these are built in the same orientation, and yet it is messed up. So let's rotate this so that the my rotation would have been slightly off. I think right there is going to be fine. That fuel. Add utility. Our landing gear. Add these things, move them up until they are just above the ground like that. Add structural. And then U to U. Right, so now if I did this right, I'll head over here and it should be touching the ground on this side too. Alright. So they're both coming in above the center of... No, they're not. Okay, so it's... to rotate U. Let's move you. Let's see now. Let's move you. Up to there. Let's move you up to there. Thinking of the best way to do this. I do have a good way to do this. No, that's not going to be a good way to do this. I have another method I can use, but it requires me to rebuild the entire rover, basically. Which I don't really want to do, but I'm about to do. I'm going to have to do a rebuild of the entire rover to get this to work. Alright. Place. Open craft. Don't save. Rover. Well, not the entire rover, but a lot of the rover is going to have to get replaced. Alright. So first off, let's make sure we're actually removing from the right part. So I can't add this where I want it exactly. Why am I just getting rid of those landing gears? I need to get rid of everything. Like that. And make sure I don't have one over here. That's right. Alright, so basically I'm going to have to get rid of all of this little side unit right here and completely change where its location is. So what I've got to do now is grab you. I got to put you over here, basically. Get rid of that structural piece. Goodbye. The reason I gotta do that is I'm going to have this set up in a way that I'm gonna have to get rid of these landing gears. Goodbye, and move these ones forwards to about right there in order to get the same effect that I need. Take this guy and place it about right there, and a set of 2 like that, and then rotate down like that so that they're level. And doing this, so now I have to rotate forward a bit still. Rotate these things there. Come on. Pick up the rotate, and I need to rotate it. Nope. Rotate it that way. And the reason why I'm going to have to do this is because the landing gears, so I'm going to have to get rid of all these structural struts here. And hopefully this will work. Hopefully this will work. Let's hope this works. I need those touching down. I need these moved down a little bit. Not that far, but about right there should be fine. Alright, so now I have to retest this again to make sure that I've got to take these structural struts off. That's extremely important that these get taken off from the sides, because the landing gears are going to run down here, below the center of mass instead of at or above it, which should, in theory, make it a little more stable. And then I can also place them directly, not attached to the docking port, which should, in theory, make this work. We'll add a little guy right here. Like that. And then another set of little guys up here. Like that. Add struts from tops of these to tops of these to there. Tops of these to there. What this is going to do is hopefully add in the structural soundness I'm going to need. Tops of these. That. To there. And then the tops of these. So I am still going to need structural rigidity. Across this stuff. So we're going to be strutting along the lines instead of against the lines or in between the lines. Alright. So hopefully this is going to be the rover that will work. We will add in sets of 2 these landing gears, fully extended. Like that. Rotate them. Down like that. Move them both down and not forward and back. And in and up a little bit so that they're right above the whatnot. And see, this is why this was my other method, was to place these in a way where I'd be able to drive underneath them and not have the issue. Let's go ahead and strut these together as well. Or no, I won't be able to strut these together. Because if I strut these together, I have to strut the backs together. And that will make it less less good. And I will take these guys right here. And come over here. Place them in sets of 2. Like that. Rotate them that way. Like that. Move them down, up about right there, and move them as far back as I can get, about right there, and then move them inward, and then down a little bit further until they are just above the ground like that. And now one more set of these landing gears, because I want at least 3 points of connectivity. Right there. And this will make it so everything is clear when this thing is up. Should get lined up pretty well with that, and all these landing gears are touching the ground, so I should, or just about touching the ground, so I should be able to have these. Alright, let's save this craft as it is. Let's make sure my rover is where it needs to be, which it looks like it. I might need to rotate a little bit, but no, it should be fine. Alright. Crew, Jebediah, and Valentina. Actions. Custom 1 is still the solar panels. Yep, 2 is going to be these gears, is going to be extend retract. Now hopefully, if I did this right, it's not going to be bouncing everywhere. 3 is going to be the landing gears on these guys. 4 is going to be to decouple, and 5 is going to be nothing. Alright. Let's go and launch this out and see how well it works. See if it's bouncing around everywhere when I'm trying to do stuff, which hopefully it shouldn't be anymore. Everything should be aligned perfectly with the center. And if this works, I hope this works. Alright, so it's not bouncing around like crazy anymore. So I think that's what it was that the center of mass and everything was uneven. Alright, we do that. Let me go ahead and warp up to daylight, set brakes. Warp up to daylight time. Like that. Get that back down. Let's go ahead and action group 3. And then action group 3 again. So now, with this setup, I should be able to leave my solar panels out when redocking. And that is rather close to that. So let's go ahead and action group 4 to drop down. Action group 3 again. And that should raise us back up just enough to redock. Which it doesn't. Which we might have to swap to this craft right here. Let's do a quick save real quick. So just in case something happens. Save. Switch to the rover probe. Action group 2. Should have docked, but it didn't. Revert flight. Spaceplane hangar. So I have a way I can do that. So if you noticed, the docking ports were slightly, how should I say this? They were slightly offset a little bit. Not offset, let me actually launch this again and see exactly how much or what I need to do with those docking ports. Nope.